MLB executives predict the Giants offseason. Do they have the G-men getting big names? Let's find out on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Giants. My name is Alan Stiles, and it is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, because of great people like you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show at Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing at Sacramento Rivercats games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are talking about a survey that 16 MLB executives filled out and where the Giants fall as far as their off season. We are also discussing the possible interest that the Giants have in JT Realmuto. And last but not least, because I will be off tomorrow celebrating Thanksgiving, I know a lot of you will be as well. I hope a lot of you also have the day off. If not, our first responders and everyone like that, we appreciate what you do for us. But because of that, I wanted to have a little bit of fun at the end of this episode and discuss who is most likely to surprise in 2026. This is part one of a series that we're going to do, and this time it's going to be internally, and we're talking about position players. So I will reveal who I just can't quit and who I still believe in could surprise us. Somebody that's been hanging out with the Rivercats. That is what we're going to talk about in the last segment, and as you can tell, I'm very excited about it. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. We are starting with an ESPN article where Jesse Rogers was a part of this. They surveyed 16 MLB executives, and they gave their thoughts on a lot of different things, but the Giants came up because they were talking about big names in the offseason and whether or not the Giants will land them. So I'm going to go through all of the questions that connected to the Giants and some that are connected by proxy as well. So let's start here. Execs voted on where big names will land. Some votes don't have all 16 because they were allowed to skip whatever they wanted to skip. Obviously, these execs are in the know on what's going on, so these polls aren't completely random. That's why I think it's kind of a big deal. Let's start with the first question. Will Kyle Tucker get more than $400 million, and who will give it to him? Survey says yes for 6 voters and no for 10 voters. So 10 voters and 10 MLB execs do not think that Kyle Tucker will get 400 mil, but 6 do think he will cross that threshold. Who will sign him? The New York Yankees with 6 votes, the Los Angeles Dodgers with 4, of course, the Toronto Blue Jays with 3, the Detroit Tigers with 1, the Philadelphia Phillies with 1, and the Orioles with 1. The Giants did not get a vote there. The Giants did not get a vote. None of the 16 MLB execs thought the Giants would be in on Kyle Tucker. Let's get to the next question. And again, that's what the Giants have been telling us. They're not trying to spend that money. So I don't know why we should be terribly surprised, but you never know, right? Just because they're not on the list, maybe they are moving in silence a little bit. Where will the top 3 free agent starters with MLB experience sign? Notice how they specifically said with MLB experience. Survey says Framber Valdez, 5 votes for the Blue Jays, 4 votes for the New York Mets, 4 votes for the Orioles, 1 vote for the Tigers, and 1 vote for the Astros. No Giants. I know a lot of you were not super thrilled with the Giants maybe going in that direction. These 16 MLB execs don't think the Giants will go in that direction. Dylan Cease, survey says Mets with 6 votes, Blue Jays with 3, Red Sox with 2, Atlanta Braves with 2, Chicago Cubs with 1, and the San Francisco Giants with 1 vote. One MLB exec thought that the Giants would land Dylan Cease. Ranger Suárez, Red Sox 4, Phillies 4, Blue Jays 3. We see a theme here. Braves 2, Giants 1 vote. Again, I don't know if it's a different exec because obviously 2 different starters. Maybe this exec thought, I feel like the Giants are going to spend a little bit of cash here. So there is one person that thought that the Giants would get Dylan Cease, one person that thought that the Giants would get Ranger Suárez. And this is what Jesse Rogers also had to say. The usual suspects plus Toronto show up here. Most of these teams have been perennial favorites for Japanese players coming over to Major League Baseball for the first time. As we get into ace Tatsuya Imai, these teams are among those with a leg up on the rest of the competition as they've put time, money, and energy into recruiting in Japan. At 27 years old, Imai is the right age for a multi-year deal and should benefit from the success of others from Japan that came before him. Who will sign Japanese ace Tatsuya Imai? Survey says, there's a drum roll somewhere. Giants with 5 votes. They have the most votes out of any for Tatsuya Imai. Giants with 5 votes, Yankees with 3, Dodgers with 3, Cubs with 2, Blue Jays with 1, Padres with 1. And here's the quote. The Giants have been in the hunt for a Japanese pitcher in the past. Pairing Imai with Logan Webb makes a ton of sense. That's from a specific executive. Unsurprisingly, the Dodgers were tied for the second most votes as they have secured the top 3 Japanese free agents over the past 2 off seasons in Shohei, Yamamoto, and Sasaki. Dodgers, another said, seems like they have that market somewhat cornered. I hate hearing that. Chicago, who extended a qualifying offer to Japanese left-hander Shota Imanaga this winter that was accepted, is also in the mix. The Cubs have already stated they need more pitching and they should have room even after Imanaga returned, another exec said. So I don't want to do the thing where I'm giving everyone hope. But it's not me. This is what the execs are saying. They truly believe that the Giants have put in the work. And it's not necessarily, in my opinion, it's not necessarily about the fact that the Giants have this connection and need a pitcher in Imai. It's the fact that execs are acknowledging what Buster Posey has told us, that they went overseas, that they're trying to connect with those players and build a pipeline similar to what the Dodgers have. Execs are taking notice, and they think that the Giants might get that return on their investment in the form of Tatsuya Imai. So that's huge to me. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think that's a big deal. And I think that's an important note here as we get into the offseason, because even if they don't get Tatsuya, the Giants are showing us, I guess, the new version and the new way of how they're trying to do things. They go out and get Tony Vitello, right? They're trying to start their culture there. Tony Vitello said he's going to go to the Dominican. You got Buster Posey and Manassian going overseas to Japan to see what's going on over there. So a lot of things they are showing us to differentiate themselves from the regimes of the past. So as much as you might feel annoyed when they sign Joey Weimer and things like that, just know that clearly they are making changes. So this made me feel good, cautiously optimistic. All right, cautiously optimistic, but that was the big one in this article. The Giants, not overwhelming favorites, there's only 16 execs, but the Giants favorites to land Imai, and a lot of people recognizing, a lot of execs recognizing, yeah, the Giants are trying to build up that pipeline and see what happens there. And, you know, you can't say no to Rafi Devers, especially with the bad luck that the Giants have had in signing free agent hitters. So you had to go that way, but who knows? They could have been in on Murakami as well if they weren't able to land Devers when they were. So I thought it was great stuff. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but it is always good to see the Giants names. As everybody's wondering, Alan, when are they going to spend money? It does seem like it's headed in that direction, and hopefully that ends up being the case. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have to work out here in regards to the Giants, and is he actually going to turn down the Dodgers if the Dodgers do throw that deferred money at him? who knows? But at least we know he don't like the Dodgers, or he wants to go up against the Dodgers, and there's a really good way to do that. So a great week for the Imai narrative, if you will. That is that. Those are the main parts that I wanted to share with you. One last one, just on Tarek Skubal. Most of the execs voted that they will play it out. The Tigers will. There were 10 execs that said let it play out, 3 that said trade him, and 0 said that the Tigers will sign extend him. That means that 3 execs did not vote on that and participate on that. Just a little interesting on that one. All right. Let's get to the other side. And when we do, we are discussing an article from Ken Rosenthal and Jen McCaffrey as they talk about the Giants' possible connection to JT Realmuto. But what does that mean for Gold Glover Patrick Bailey? It's all coming up on Locked On Giants. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I have to tell y'all about my favorite jeans. My Doers. Seriously, they've changed my life. Right now, I'm wearing the Performance Denim Slim Straight, and I cannot get over how comfortable these jeans are. I've been reaching for my Doers for everything, running errands, grabbing dinner with friends, even heading to the ballpark because they look great and feel even better. Here's the thing. Doer jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim, so you can actually move in them. They're also antibacterial, which means they stay fresh longer, wear more, wash less, and they're made with Cool Max technology that helps regulate body temperature and wick moisture so you stay cool and comfortable as the day changes. Honestly, they feel as stretchy as my favorite joggers, but look like I'm dressed to go out on the town. Doer is all about combining classic jeanswear style with athletic level comfort and performance. It's the best of both worlds. They actually pioneered the original performance denim, blending technical innovation with everyday clothing that looks sharp and feels incredible. Simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without sacrificing style. Once you try them, they'll be your go-to pair. Trust me. And if you're in San Francisco, check out Doer's store at 567 Hayes Street. Pick up a pair for yourself or grab one as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONSF in store to get 15% off your first order, or shop online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF for that same 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. Your new favorite jeans are waiting. So could the Giants have a level of interest in JT Realmuto? The article from The Athletic with Ken Rosenthal and Jen McCaffrey, it's actually about the Red Sox. And at one point, it just gets thrown in that the Giants might be in the mix there. So I'm going to give you the highlights of the article right here. Acquiring another catcher is not among the Sox top priorities, or so it has seemed. But the Red Sox are showing interest in JT Realmuto, according to people briefed on their discussions. Acquiring another catcher is not among the Sox top priorities, or so it has seemed. But the Red Sox are showing interest in JT Realmuto, according to people briefed on their discussions. The usual caveats apply. It is early in free agency. Teams are touching base with a large number of players. The best guess with Realmuto is that he will still re-sign with the Philadelphia Phillies, with his team that he's been with since 2019. The lure of another team would need to be strong. Realmuto and his family own a home in Clearwater, Florida, site of the Phillies spring training facility, and spent part of the offseason there. The Phillies, lacking an internal replacement for Realmuto, also are motivated to keep him. The Athletic's Tim Britton projected Realmuto will land a 3-year, $45 million contract. Earlier this offseason, The Athletic's Matt Gelb noted Yadier Molina signed a 3-year, $60 million contract extension in April 2017, covering his 35 to 37 age seasons. The San Francisco Giants, here we go. The San Francisco Giants might be a better Possibility. President of Baseball Operations, Buster Posey, a former catcher, surely understands Realmuto's value, both tangible and intangible. Jeff Berry, a senior advisor in the front office, is both Posey's and Realmuto's former agent. Giants catcher Patrick Bailey is the Giants' top framer, the game's top framer, but batted only .222 with a .602 OPS last season. If Realmuto lands with any team other than the Phillies, it will be a surprise. But quality catchers are scarce, and Realmuto, even at an advanced age, even after a season of offensive decline, is the best available in free agency. So I wanted to give you JT Realmuto's stats from 2025, 2.5 WAR, 502 at-bats, 129 games, 12 home runs. His batting average was .257, 57 runs, 52 RBIs, 8 stolen bases. Yeah, he also netted out as the second fastest catcher in the league behind Shea Langoliers. Take that for what it's worth. A .315 on base percentage, a 384 slugging, and his OPS was 700. So again, for his standards, if you look at his career, he hits .270 on his career. He has 180 home runs, 104 stolen bases, 677 RBIs. His on-base percentage for his career, .328. His slugging, .447, and his OPS, .774. So that is a bit of a dip, but he's 34 years old. My biggest question when it comes to JT Realmuto is, okay, are you giving up on Patrick Bailey for a 34-year-old? That's my biggest confusion. Patrick Bailey is in his mid-20s. He's about to hit his prime. And I don't know, or is 15 a year if you're giving JT Realmuto that $60 million contract, right? Or over the 3 years, that's 20 a year, not even 15. That's 20 a year. Are you signing that? Are you giving him that to be behind or to platoon with Patrick Bailey? That doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but obviously the other conversation would be, well, no, we're moving on from Patrick Bailey, and you're moving on from Patrick Bailey for somebody who's 34 years old. That also doesn't add up as well. So I don't know. I get the agent connection for sure. It's just, what do you do with Patrick Bailey and giving up on somebody who's gone back-to-back Gold Gloves, even with ABS on the way? That just seems off. That I don't know that seems like and it wasn't 60 million, it was 45 million. That's why I had 15 million in my mind. So it would be a little bit less than what Yadier Molina got back in 2017 for his age 35 to 37 season. So a little less than that, 15 million a year to platoon with Patrick Bailey. That just doesn't seem like a great use of your dollars, even though it's not my money. A great use of your dollars. I like JT Realmuto. I think he's still got something in the tank. I think the Giants are just in a tough spot with Patrick Bailey, right? If you're going to move on from him, that's fine, but to move on from him from somebody who is leaving his prime or already has left his prime, that is what I think the issue seems to be. So, I completely understand the connection. I'm just not really sure why the Giants would move off of Patrick Bailey for this specific situation. I mean, make him 32. Make JT Realmuto 32 and we can talk. But 34, man, that's, as a catcher, and I know he's been durable, that's a tough one, though. That's a tough sell to me. So we'll see what happens there. And even in the article, they don't necessarily say what happens to Patrick Bailey. They don't say, well, they would move off of Patrick Bailey or they would platoon. They didn't even say that. They just said they got Patrick Bailey and he can't hit right now. That's what the article says. So had to share that with you. I think it is something people would be torn on, because I know a lot of you do want to move on from Patrick Bailey. I know a lot of you don't, but do you want to move off of him for somebody who's 34? That is the biggest question to me, and then sign him to a 3-year deal. I don't know about that one. All right, let's have some fun in the last segment. I will reveal who is my most likely to surprise in 2026. I got multiple, but I'm going to start with somebody that I just can't quit. I don't know why, and I can't wait to see and hear what y'all have to say about him and who you can't quit either. One more segment with you, more Locked On Giants coming up. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. All right, it's just time to have a conversation. Who is most likely to surprise in 2026? And this is just part one, right? We're going to have pitchers. We're going to have external guys. We're going to have internal guys. We're going to have young guys. We're going to have guys that haven't debuted yet in Major League Baseball. But I'm keeping this one very classic, very clean. And the player that I am going to throw out there for most likely to surprise in 2026, I can't quit him, and I know why I can't quit him, and it's because of what he did, 2 years ago now, Tyler Fitzgerald. Hear me out. Hear me out on this one. The flash that we saw, it wasn't as small of a flash as you thought. He played in a decent amount of games. Okay, in 2024. Tyler Fitzgerald. We know how hard it is to hit at the major league level. I don't know why I don't want to give up on him. That sophomore season is always tough. Everybody is paying attention to you. Now your expectations have changed. There's a whole scouting report. I understand he didn't have it. But in 2024, 15 home runs, 280 with an 831 OPS. He also had 17 stolen bases, and he hit home runs in 5 consecutive games. I can't give up on him just yet. Here's the other reason I won't give up on him. And I mentioned this to y'all when the season was coming to a close. Tyler Fitzgerald, when they pulled up Grant McCray, you know where Tyler Fitzgerald was playing? Center field. Now, I do not think Tyler Fitzgerald is going to be the center fielder for the San Francisco Giants in 2026, but it speaks to his ability to play multiple positions, and I think that matters. You look at the Giants lineup right now, you look at the Giants roster, yeah, you can move guys to the outfield and you can move guys around, but Tyler Fitzgerald can play second, can play short. He can play all around the infield, and now they feel comfortable enough. I know it's just AAA, but they feel comfortable enough to put him in center field and see what he can do there. I can't quit him. Those memories that I have of him just doing his thing in 2024, I'm not ready to say goodbye yet. And he is my most likely to surprise in 2026 simply because number one, like I said, his ability to play other positions. And number two, Casey Schmidt had a good season. But if you look around at who is going to have a chance to surprise, I think the outfielders are just going to be beating each other up all season long. That carousel. And then they might bring in somebody, another outfielder. So it's going to be hard for the guys like Grant McCray, and Luis Matos is out of options, and they brought in Joey Weimer. So it's going to be hard for the internal guys. Wade Meckler is on the roster still. It's going to be hard for those guys to get time. I think that if Casey Schmidt doesn't get off to a hot start, Tyler Fitzgerald, and that is no disrespect to Christian Koss, because Christian Koss would be next in line. But out of all the guys that we're talking about, the only guy to perform at that high of a level, even with the hot streaks from Luis Matos and Drew Gilbert, even with those hot streaks, the only guy to do it at that level was Tyler Fitzgerald. And maybe it was a Jeremy Lin streak. Maybe it was a random Jeremy Lin stretch. Okay, it's possible. But I'm still not ready to fully give up on that dude because he's got defensive flexibility, positional flexibility, because he steals bags, he got great speed, and because he has popped from the right-handed side at Oracle Park. I'm not ready. Now, one more season, because he did not hit well in Sacramento, by the way. It's not like he didn't do the Luis Matos thing the Luis Matos cycle where he can't hit with the Giants, then he goes down with the River Cats and mashes, then gets pulled up. Tyler Fitzgerald was a complete mess. He was. So I'm actually using that as a positive to possibly say it was so bad for Tyler Fitzgerald. He'd be a year removed from that crazy hot stretch that he was on, that maybe going into next season, fresh mindset, got his mind right, and he can go into this with less expectations and feel a bit more comfortable. I mean, what he did, there was no way. We talk about it like a one-hit wonder, right? Certain musical artists, when they have that huge hit and it's hard to replicate it, it's hard to duplicate it because it was the right time. You release it in the summer. It was the right vibe. Everybody was waiting for something, and it's all about timing. And now they can't do it again, and they're getting into the booth, and they're trying to do that again. I think that was Tyler Fitzgerald. He was trying to be that guy every time he stepped to the plate, even in Sacramento. And maybe a year removed from it, he can kind of relax a little bit, play a bit more free, and say, hey, I'm just going to be me, right? I am who I am. Yeah, I did what I did a couple years ago, but he can more so, because those expectations were unrealistic. He was homering in every game for 5 games straight. So that is where I'm at with Tyler Fitzgerald, and I get it. Okay, a lot of people want to say, Alan, he had his opportunity. And let's just be clear here. All right. In 2025, he played in 72 games. It was not good. We don't have to get into it, but it was not good. 217 batting average. He had 4 home runs. Think about that. He had more home runs in 5 games in 2024 than he had all season in 2025. Still managed to get 9 bags, and he wasn't on base often. So I'm telling you, he can help the run game. On base percentage, 278, slugging, 327, OPS 606. We know it was bad. But in 2024, do y'all realize he played in 96 games? Sometimes you remember it differently, and it feels like maybe he only played in 30. He played in 96 games. 341 plate appearances, 314 at-bats. He had 280, 15 home runs, 34 RBIs. He played in more games than you think. So I guess he's my guilty pleasure that I don't want to give up yet. And we'll see what happens this season. It's going to be hard for him to get on the field. Don't get me wrong. If Casey Schmidt does his job, we might not ever see him because you have Christian Koss waiting as well. So I understand that. But for this segment, he's my guy. I know a lot of people thought I'd probably say Drew Gilbert or Grant McCray or somebody like that. That outfield is a mess. I'm staying away from that. But you got defensive flexibility. You got legit speed that we've seen him steal bases. Look, after this season, I'll probably just throw my hands up, but you never know, man. We saw some greatness there, and I think it is there once he maybe gets his mind right, if he gets the opportunity. First things first, you got to smash. You got to mash in Sacramento. That's a hitter's ballpark. That's a hitter's league. You have to. After you do that, let's see what happens if you get your opportunity. Let me know who is your guilty pleasure, who you think is most likely to surprise in 2026. For part 1, we're doing internal. So somebody on the River Cats, somebody that has maybe bounced back and forth, give me your name and we'll go over them on the next show. Everyone, enjoy your holiday if you have it off. If you don't have it off, hey, keep working hard. I know payday's got to be soon for some of you. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day. I hope everybody gets to enjoy some time with their family. I will be back on Friday to keep this conversation going. And maybe by then something will have happened. Something will assign. I know the winter meetings, that's when a lot of it happens. But thank you so much for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. We will talk to you on Friday. Until then, peace.